We are not rare. But before you leave, you will perceive the lore will be unlocked. You might be stalked by a Sasquatch or a ghost witch, possibly even a ghost that will boast about knowing the Ohio grassman or even the Michigan dogman. Werewolves hunt, poltergeists are up front, but in these backwoods folklore is unlocked.
Welcome back to Folklore Unlocked. I'm Austin, and like always, I'm joined by Ethan.
Yep, hello again, everyone.
And this week we are taking a look at a mythical slash legendary person somewhat similar to that of King Arthur and all the people involved in the legend involving King Arthur and Prester John. And a little background on John. He is said to be a mythical Christian patriarch, presbyter, and king who is said to be a descendant of the three magi or the three wise men from the biblical tale and believed to rule in either Central Asia or India.
And beginnings, a letter received by the Byzantine Emperor Manuel I Komnenos, which was 1118 to 1180, ruled to 1143 to 1180 and 1165.
Yeah, I just put his birth date and death date and then his ring in there so if anybody would want to look him up, they get the right guy.
Yeah. Sender John Christian, sovereign of Lord of Lords. Letter described John's kingdom as wealthy and located somewhere in Central Asia, like we said, and also stated that John lived in a palace made of gems and gold, and also stated that kingdom stretched from Persia to China. So, big kingdom and a large palace made of, like, very gold, gems, rich things.
Yeah, very expensive. And according to legend, Prester John here attempted to join the Second Crusade, and Hugh, Bishop of Jabala in 1144, was the Bishop of Jabala in 1144, and he was designated to tell Pope Eugene III of the fall county, the county of Edessa, the Zengi Seljuk ruler, and he was sent by Raymond of Antioch, and Pope Eugene III sanctioned the Second Crusade, and allegedly Prester John set out towards Jerusalem, but the Tigris River being flooded forced him back to his own country. And historian Robert Silverberg connects this to the historical Battle of Katwan, where the Seljuks were defeated by the Quara Kitai Khanate under the leadership of Yaludashi, who was Buddhist, and the Khanate were Buddhist, but several of their vassals were Christian, so there could have been a little bit of confusion when the story was brought back to Europe.
Good job with all those pronunciations.
I'm assuming they're correct, but
Even if they,
I'm not sure.
even if they weren't, you sounded really confident doing them.
We just gotta try.
Then we have some Mongol stories. So in 1221, the Bishop of Acre, Jacques de Vitry, returned from the Fifth Crusade with good news from an otherwise bad crusade. King David of India, the son or grandson of Pester John, had mobilized his troops to help in the crusade, and King David turned out to be the infamous Genghis Khan.
You know, if I had nickel for every time we mentioned Genghis Khan in one of our episodes, I'd have 2 nickels, which isn't a lot, but strange that it's happened twice.
It was going to happen eventually.
And a little bit of truth behind the legend. St. Thomas the Apostle did go to India and spread Christianity, and there's some could have been some warped stories about the Church of the East or the Nestorian Church in Asia, and John the Presbyter, similar to St. Thomas the Apostle, was another early Christian teacher, but in Syria could have became the basis for Prester John. You know, similar names, similar kind of in geography, kind of on that borderline there.
Yeah, I was going to say, same area, same basic name, so...
Exactly. Could became the basis at least for the naming of Prester John.
And then some cultural references. So William Shakespeare played Much Ado About Nothing. Tirso de Molina's El Burleson de Sevilla. And then Marvel Comics Fantastic Four and Thor. And then DC Comics Arak, Son of Thunder.
So yeah, even Marvel and DC and William Shakespeare have all somehow covered Prester John. And on to our thoughts, I think Prester John was probably nothing but Christian Europeans hearing stories from the Middle East and Asia about people battling with Muslims, you know, during the Crusades, and assuming that they were also Christians, and then making up stories that fit their beliefs to the point where it became legend, or the stories just got passed along like a game of telephone, and it just kind of fit their beliefs by the time it got back to, you know, very Christian Europe.
Yeah, I agree. It's probably just people hearing stories and then after hearing those stories, making up their own stories, kind of like you said, kind of like a big game of telephone.
Where there's truth to the stories, but it's just passed along so much that it's basically an entirely new story.
Mm.
And with that, I think that's all we've got for this week. Next week, we are going to take a look at the Circleville Letters mystery, which is a very interesting unsolved case. So stay tuned for that. Any last words, Ethan?
Just thanks for watching, everyone.
Thanks for watching. If you're on YouTube, drop us a like, comment, and subscribe. If you're on Spotify, drop us a follow and a comment, and we'll see you next week.
You might wake up beside Spearfinger with an extended visit from Jack the Ripper. But if you're lucky, it'll be an angel on that range hill of Louisiana. You might meet Mary Laveau or the Rover Scott Austin and Ethan concoct their theory of the eerie and unexplained around the world, sometimes even the underworld. The lore is locked behind secrets, the folklore is meant to be unlocked. The Sokaloo is haunting NC as well as Tennessee. There are many giants that might be clients of the Dark Watchers, who might have psychokinesis. And the phantom time hypothesis is like the phoenix, coming back around again and again. The laser strain on your brain if you've got more than 2 brain cells in you. Some believe McCartney is dead because they read into the Mandela effect, which is subject